got the spark in the circuits.
Welcome to this episode of AI Because. Michael is somewhere in the world.
Somewhere.
We're recording this on St. Patty's Day, and Steve may join us at some point. I'm not sure because Steve was drinking green beer last night, so you never know. You just never know. Greg is going to be playing with cows later on today, but has graced us with showing up and hanging out and having a chat, and Manoj is here. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to have a conversation just around what's going on in the space around AI, the impact or the opportunity, right? Because impact can feel like this really heavily weighted word, opportunity that exists within your organization and what we're seeing and some cool demos that we've been able to check out. So we'll kick it off first. We can do a round robin really quick of what's happening. In fact, you know what? Let's end with a round robin and what's been happening. Let's start off, Manoj, because I know you stumbled across a very small 200-page report
A very small one.
that you had your buddy help you synthesize, highlight some stuff. So I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so one of the focus for us and our team has been research in terms of how the different job roles are going to change. And then I shared one of the custom GPTs another organization had created in the last episode. And we're also doing an analysis on how the different job roles in the risk and compliance roles are going to change. So as part of the research, I came across this report, which was published by World Economic Forum, on the Future of Jobs report, where they interviewed about 1,000 organizations globally across 22 different industries to highlight what are some of the trends in terms of what job roles are increasing, what job roles are decreasing. But it was not necessarily fully focused on AI, but of course AI plays a big part in how many job roles are going to change. So I thought because this has then applicability across many industries and many job roles, it can be a good discussion, for us to explore and brainstorm and put our views. And it's a super sort of long report. So what I've done is I've taken that into ChatGPT, so we can then highlight and we're focusing on the AI related skills and how they are going to impact the different job roles. But of course, the report covers, many other aspects. So if you want to, read other non-AI related skills related information, then please go to the report here. You can just Google a Future of Jobs Report 2025. You will get that. But when I asked about AI skills, so these were some of the findings. So no surprise that AI tops the technology drivers of change across the different skill sets. And then we can look at some of these statistics that, according to the report, 86% of the companies expect AI to have a significant impact on how they operate. So that just highlights how important it is that everybody is at least spending half an hour every week learning AI, because if you're not learning any AI, in a week, then soon there are going to be major repercussions in terms of job roles and career and so on. But at least the demand is there, where a lot of companies are expecting that AI is going to be, one of the major drivers behind the transformation. Skills linked to AI and big data lead the list of fastest growing competencies. So that's where, again, there's a lot of demand, because this is more perspective of organization. So now we as professionals here, we need to now see what we can offer to these different organizations. So AI and big data is where it stands out. I'll just go through the statistics on the 2 or 3 bullet points here, and then we can have a round robin discussion.
Yeah.
And then AI will also create new jobs, but also disrupt existing ones. So again, no surprise. So things like AI, machine learning specialists, big data specialists, software application developer. So they will be the fast growing. There'll be more need of people with these sort of skill sets. But at the same time, clerical, secretarial, data entry type roles, they are the ones which are going to decline or reduce because of what is happening on the AI
I would
side.
add analysts to that too.
Analysts, I think so. In this report, they look at more at analysts where it'll be a hybrid. So it'll be the human and AI working together. But yeah, whether we will need less analysts or more analysts. So are you saying, Michelle, we need
Yeah,
less
there's
analysts
no way
going
because
forward?
in most organizations, analytics is the bottleneck, or analytics is where um, uh, things get stopped or they don't have the skill set there.
Hmm.
I think that's what we're going to see is less and less dependency or reliance, if you will, on
Hmm.
internal human analysts. Because to your point, you didn't need someone to read this report and highlight and summarize it for you. You know, I don't need someone if I've got this report of data and what's going on
Hmm.
to be able to do a first pass at analytics. So I think it's what AI is not able to do right now is to connect the numbers and the KPIs and all that stuff that we're seeing and what's actually happening operationally. So I think it's morphing that role because a lot of people, well, and I'm going to speak from the healthcare space. When you're an analyst, you don't necessarily go to the hospital or to go to the outpatient clinic to understand what's going on, or
Hmm.
even interviewing people what's going on. And I think that's where the opportunity is going to step in, to where we've got AI, they can do the initial analytics, and then humans can then start connecting more of these dots.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, any other views from Steve or Greg on that?
Yeah, I think
Well,
that the AI does do anything that is a bot related, summary related, that kind of stuff. Yes, and to Michelle's point, it's very good at that kind of stuff. But if it's stuff that is not embedded within the data, in other words, qualitative, right? So what we're talking about is it's good at taking actual data, quantitative data, and stuff that is qualitative in nature in the sense that it's descriptive, right? But it's still data, and summarizing it, right? But less in finding necessarily the root cause, for example, unless that's embedded within the data. But usually it takes another level of digging, right? So I think that there needs to be an additional level of human analysis and really talking to people and really understanding situationally what is going on to provide the necessary context to connect to the data.
Yes, so basically they need to go see what's actually happening.
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Greg.
Well, yeah, and I probably emphasize that a little bit. I think most organizations have a huge database of unused information, and having AI to help us dig into that and kind of extract some of that information, which nobody has been able to look at before,
Mhm.
just because it's been too time consuming. And I believe that the deeper research or deeper thinking is going to pull that information out.
Yeah.
100%.
Now, yeah, and I think especially the generative AI tools, yeah, they're still not very good at numbers. They're good at text. So I think a lot of analysts, at least in financial services, in the risk space, where we know they're dealing with a lot of number type data. So that's where generative AI is still not great with numbers. Yeah, they're very good with text.
It
And if it's just one
depends.
document, but if you have to get data from an Oracle database and a SQL Server database and different databases and combine that together, then
It,
uh, I think yeah, AI is not will not be easily be able to do that role. That you'll still need analyst for the number crunching aspects of the analysis.
Well, I think it
Hey,
does depend, right? Like I've tested. I literally I took a big Excel worksheet, right, with a lot of data, and it was good at crunching those numbers and coming out with summary statistics. But if you're looking for something beyond that, like correlating a bunch of data from disparate data sources, it's probably not going to be as good at that. But I was so impressed. I gave it. I was just testing out, and I gave it. I was actually helping this high school student out on one of his projects, and so we together we just downloaded all this summary data on NBA referees, right? Whether for example they're partial to the home team or the away team, or another analysis that was done that we did was whether experienced referees had more whether there was like bias or, there was several different things. And it did a great job of producing charts, giving statistics. So, but all that is summary. That is
Yeah.
summary descriptive statistics. So,
Agreed. What else does a report say, Manoj?
Yeah, so the next one here, which is interesting, is that they reduced the number of tasks which can be only done by humans. So when they last did the analysis 5 years ago, it was 47%, and now it is down to 33%. So they're saying that that's the proportion of tasks which only humans will be able to do. And then we've got more details of that later. But that's gone down. So which means 67% of the tasks is where there will be human and technology, or human and automation, or human and AI will be involved. Any comments on that one? Do you agree?
No, I think we're good. It might be good just to go through it and then we can chat.
Yeah, yeah. So here, let me then jump. So we've covered the key ones. So the next I did was which industries will be most impacted by the AI skills. So in this case, information technology and services, because I think that's where around more a lot of coding. A lot of IT teams are now using generative AI to write a lot of code. So that sort of is one space where things will get impacted. Financial services and capital markets, it is saying that there's going to be a lot of skills or job roles which will get impacted. Manufacturing, automotive, aerospace, electronics, oil and gas, healthcare, insurance, and retail and wholesale. So those are the industries where there'll be more impacts around from an AI perspective. Uh, and then I wanted to drill down into the job roles. So which job
Yeah.
roles will be most impacted? So these are the roles. It is saying that there will be more demand for these roles because of AI, that we'll need more AI and machine learning specialists because organizations will be automating whatever they're doing, and they'll need these specialists to be able to embed and integrate AI into their day-to-day operations. You got the big data specialist, your data analyst, so they're saying data analyst roles will grow because of AI, that maybe we'll be able to do more analysis in combination with AI. Software application developers, because it's like every software under the sun will try to embed AI in there. So that, also probably resonates on why that role may increase. Security management, information security analyst. Yeah. So because cyber criminals are using AI to launch cyber attacks, fraudsters are using. So I don't see it. This one is a surprise that there'll be more
Yeah, I was
need.
gonna, but yeah, that's where my head was, I'm looking at the list going, so what here is surprising? None of it. None of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The analyst
But
part.
what is surprising is more like IT related roles, because
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is analyzes like all the roles, but the IT related roles is where it is saying it will go up. And then these are the roles it's saying which are going to reduce, or the jobs will decline,
Yeah.
which
I
again, sort of not super surprising.
I think it helps to really understand how the AI is working, right? And then it's more it's you're more able to kind of make sense of the things that are going on. For example, AI at its heart is predicting, right? I mean that's what it is, right? AI predicts, and Gen AI just predicts words based on tokens. So
Yeah. Is there more to the report, Manoj?
There
Oh, there
was
is. Okay.
one more. Yes, yes. So one more was the element of surprise. I wanted to see, okay, out of
Okay.
200 pages, is there any finding which has an element of surprise? So I think graphic designers are at the risk of decline. It is highlighting that security
Yeah.
roles are growing, healthcare organizations are rapidly adopting, and then we touched on 33% of
Yeah.
the and clerical and knowledge entry roles are more vulnerable than anticipated. I think which
Yeah.
summarizes
Okay.
what we
All
talked
right.
about. But
Um,
I'll pause there. But interesting report, lot of good findings. I'll
yeah, no, I totally agree. It's what's you were going through it, and like I said in my head was, what is surprising? I don't know that graphic designers declining is surprising. There's
Mhm.
too many people doing stuff. There's too many. I mean, I was listening to Matt Wolf, his podcast, and so he was demoing Google's the AI part of what Google has. And it's good at generating images. It wasn't great. I mean, it was, from my perspective, he was demoing and it was good. What I did notice, one of the challenges have been with images, the consistency, right? When you have a graphic designer and there's a style, then they can be consistent through that style. And AI hasn't been great at being consistent. The stuff that he was demoing, there was consistency behind it. There was, them AI taking his image and putting a hat on him or doing whatever. So I think that's the space that we're going into now, that it's like it can put stuff at risk. I'm doing a children's book right now, and so I've got someone on my daughter's team doing illustrations because I couldn't get AI to consistently have these characters show up, throughout the story. And so, at some point in round two, the second volume of it or whatever, that may change.
True, but part of it also is the prompt, right? So, if you give it a good subject, you give it a good technique, like for example, impressionist or realistic, right?
No, Steve, there's no way. There's no way, even with all great prompts, that consistency of character showed up. It
Across,
wasn't
this is
happening.
across images, that if you want 10
Yes.
images, the same
Yeah, there's no
character,
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's still
Through
not
through
good
8
at-
chapters of a book that the character stays the same.
Yeah,
That's where the challenge is. It doesn't
Right.
matter. It's not it
Yeah.
yeah, it's prompt on certain things,
Hmm.
but not on the consistency of over and over and over again repeatability. It wasn't there.
Not there yet. No.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was interesting. I was listening to something else, and you're talking about coding in this report and coders, and someone had projected, and I'm sorry, I don't know the someone, I listened to so much stuff, that at some point in the future, and it's going to be a pretty near future, that 100% of the coding is going to be done through AI. You're going to have humans that are taking it and piecing stuff together. But I'll go back to the example of I was at Lean Enterprise Institute, the summit that they had in Atlanta last week before. And there was a demo from Zapier, and Zapier is a platform that uses that. And literally, there was a product requirement document created, yes, by interacting with chat, to your point, Steve, prompts that were given. That document then, based on someone in the audience, that document was uploaded into Zapier. Zapier created the workflows as well as the coding in the background like that. And I was like, holy cow. And then to engage with it, because you're talking no code, it was just updating the process boxes that could do it. Is it perfect? No, but I mean, that kind of functionality puts the opportunity to automate in the hands of people that otherwise wouldn't have it.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you want to get even more specific, then you can figure out how. But sometimes the hardest thing is just getting a stake in the ground, right? And then if it proposes something, then a lot of people can say, oh, well, I want this thing to be maybe a bigger height, longer.
Yeah.
This additional words, right? So it's easier once you have an initial stake in the ground.
Yeah.
to
So I have
establish.
to ask, how was the green beer last night?
The green beer was good actually. It was good. Sunday night I'm not much of a celebrator, but it was still fun. So yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah.
checking.
And I'm carrying over the green to today, a darker color.
I do see
Yeah,
that.
we can see
I
that.
do see that. I do see that.
So to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, of course.
I had a question, and I wrote down when you were showing, Manoj, is which industry isn't impacted? I don't know that there is one.
No,
Yeah, correct.
it's
Yeah.
nothing escapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that, it's something I've said for a while now, AI elevates great thinking,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's a Steve
You
quote.
have more tools at your disposal for good critical thinking, to ask good questions. you can do more analysis, and and then how you apply it creatively. For example, we were playing around, right, Michelle, with coding. I was coding something to see, because I don't like it when people tell me I can't, or something can't be done, right? So it gets me very,
No, we didn't know that about you.
I don't
And
like that,
we
right?
did not.
So,
And I don't
anyway,
think we knew that about you.
I was determined to figure out how to take this data that was in a JSON structured format and turn it into a nice PDF, right? And so although it took some experimentation, we
Yes.
figured out, right? We figured out
I
how
think you
to
stopped
produce it.
counting at 72 or something round.
That's okay. That's okay. We figured out how to take this thing that was just a bunch of structured data and turn it into a nice catalog, right? And
A nice PDF
PDF,
with
yes.
the information, then iterated on that. Yeah. So,
Yeah, without having
so
to
if you ever
avoid
want something
paper.
done, just tell Steve it can't be done.
Right, exactly. And then I'll get to work trying to figure out how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tell him it can't be done. Greg, what are you seeing? Because you're with cattle for your day job.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I've been kind of taking notes and keeping track. I I utilize a lot of my time doing hard copy certification stuff,
yeah.
and that that's going to be automated this summer. I
Yeah.
mean, there's just no way I'm going to continue to, to give that time away on the paperwork side of what I do. And although that's extremely important, it still has to be done in a unique way, and I think we can deal with that quite easily now from some of the other experiences that we've had
Yeah.
with
Well,
our
and
working together. So
it's like in the human world, I think about it with discharge summaries, right? It doesn't, you can have AI create the summary based on notes that you've taken or whatever, especially from, a longer inpatient stay or, the face-to-face visit. The provider still needs to verify that that's the language, the word, see it. But the thing is, they're not assembling the stuff. And so for
right,
me, that's powerful.
Yeah,
yeah,
I found it really fascinating. It was probably 8 years ago, and even 8 years ago. So a lot has changed since 8 years and gotten even more sophisticated. I was talking to some ranchers from Colorado, and they were telling me all the ways, like you have to track, you really need to, because of things like mad cow disease and other, things. You need to be able to track from cattle to store, right? And in order to do
mhm,
that, that is a very there's a lot of sophistication that comes into play to be able to
Mhm.
do that.
yeah,
I was just very impressed
Is
learning.
that a term? It's not farm to table, it's ranch to table.
yeah,
Or whatever, ranch to table, or
yeah,
pasture, whatever the
yeah,
case
yeah,
may be.
yeah,
So
Ranch to
anyway, there's a
table.
lot of technology in ranching
Yeah.
and farming. I mean,
Manoj,
Greg,
what are you seeing in the risk space with stuff going on? Because I've noticed things are just, it's like it's off the track. I mean, as far as improvement, changes, all that stuff. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think the focus is still on that the risk teams are worried about the businesses using AI,
Yeah.
because it is so early days. It's an innovative technology, so you get all the innovation related risks. And we want banks to be risk averse because our money, they're keeping our money. So I
Yeah.
don't want them to be taking
Yeah.
too many risks. So at least the banking industry is very risk averse. So that's slowing down, yeah, the adoption that they're not going as fast
Yeah.
as some of the other industries or smaller
Yeah.
and medium enterprises can do. But yeah, we have regulation. So that's where all the regulators right now, they are trying to come up with regulations to monitor and minimize the risks. And the
Mhm.
biggest one is EU AI Act. So which went live this year. And now the different European countries are starting to introduce their national laws. So Spain
Mhm.
became the first country last week where they've taken the EU AI Act, and then they have started, they've created a Spanish law, and all the
Mhm.
European countries now have to do that, and US is thinking of that, and Singapore
Yeah.
is thinking of that. So this year is going to be a lot about a lot more regulations which will be introduced because it's still Wild West in terms of
I
AI.
was just thinking that. That was the thing in my head. Is like it's the Wild West.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the thing is when I think about people that are listening that have businesses, where do I start? Where's the opportunity? I mean, like we're talking about, there isn't a single thing that's not going to be touched, and on all honesty, which is appropriate, to be able to look at that and go, where do we have these opportunities? When I was sitting in the room with Zapier, one of the things, I was being exposed because I was doing a workshop during the summit, and then I had the opportunity to go to different breakouts. But it's look at your business or what's going on, and where do you have these manual processes that are in it? And then that's where start exploring. Do you have to touch this thing? And at what point do you no longer have to touch it? I'll give you a small example. I do disc reports, right? It's the communication styles reports, but that's so freaking manual because I purchase key codes, right? Someone pays for the disc report. I then have to send an email. I have to identify on my report, this is theirs, right? I have to sign their name, their email, all that. Then I have to do an email, fill in their email information, which can easily be a template and a mail merge, if you will. But the key code's got to go in there. That's their key code. And then when I get the report back, then I have to manually look at the report, update what their style is, send them the results back out. It's time consuming, especially when you have a team that you're sending out 30 reports, right?
Yeah.
One, it's not a big of a deal. But these are the opportunities that because I'm busy doing stuff for others, it's almost like the plumber has the leaky pipes, right? But this is the kind of stuff that it's like those kind of things pause and let's get that automated because that's like the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And we have that stuff. That's why your stuff, Greg, with the process you go
Yeah,
through,
yeah,
that's where you start. It doesn't have to be this enterprise wide fill in the blank. Um, but the opportunity is there. And I think to your point is it's important for us to be dipping our toe in the water as to what it is. And more clients that I talk to, they are using AI just in their everyday life. And I think part of it is don't view it as a failure because you're having Chat GPT help you respond to an email,
Mm.
right? Because we're actually creating better communication for the most part.
yeah.
Because I have clients view it like, well, I'm, kind of, they don't say the word failure, but the whole energy around them is, I'm cheating. And I'm like, you're not cheating. It's a tool. It's available to everyone. Use it.
Right.
Yeah.
Use it
Yeah.
intelligently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
using Outlook itself is a tool, right? Or your
Right.
emails.
Excel
Yeah.
is a tool.
Yeah.
Like we just
Yeah.
Compared to writing letters with hand and
Yes.
sending them
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important topic. Yeah, it's an important topic. So I'm curious, guys, as we wrap up today, what are you looking forward to, or what are you seeing in your world around AI and what it's doing? What are you excited about? Manoj,
Oh,
you're like, oh, I don't know that I'm excited about anything.
yeah. No, at the moment we're still exploring the text to video. I'm exploring various tools. I don't want to name the tools, but yeah, so far the tools are great for demo and prototyping, but actually using for real life sales and marketing, they're still not there.
Yeah.
Where they
Yeah.
still create limbs hanging out and they like don't respect the physics of the real world. But I'm in the process of trialing out different tools to see okay
Yeah.
which tool gets there. It's not there yet, but I'm really waiting. And once I get a good tool, there's just so many sales and marketing related use cases I
Yeah.
have where I want to deploy that. So
Yeah.
hopefully soon we get one tool which actually works in real life.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good to put in your text and hands off and go, ooh, okay, that's
Yeah.
not what should have gone out.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
definitely don't want to automate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Greg?
Well, I mean, we've repeated this before, but I mean, this is the worst it's going to be. I mean, there's going to be improvements in all aspects of AI, and we talk a lot about text to image to text to video and things like that, and that it is going to just get better and better and better. And I mean, feels to me like every 6 weeks there's a new improvement or new advancement, and that competition is fantastic because it just allows other people to put a little more effort and a little more creativity into their products. Um, just to repeat a little bit, I mean, what I'm excited about now is every individual can utilize some sort of free plan for AI or deep research or whatever you want to call it. And what I would encourage our listeners to do is experiment with prompting and learn about prompting, because uh, a good question is important to get a good answer. And so it is we can't totally rely on AI to give us the answers. It's our discernment and our thinking to ask the right questions and do it in a proper manner that AI can interpret and give us what we want to know. So I would encourage everybody to just spend a little time and effort educating themselves on prompt engineering.
Yeah, you just reminded me of a conversation that we were having before, and it was around our responsibility as humans in this LLM world, right? These large language model world, and giving feedback, because it's learning and growing based on what we're doing. And if there is a response that the AI is hallucinating, it's important for us to give feedback that it hallucinated and it's not right, and not just accept it, because that's part of the learning too. So
Yes.
we have a very critical role in that to call BS when it's BS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve, how about you?
Well, there's
Besides
three.
green beer, besides the green beer, what's going on?
Yes.
And what are you excited
So
about?
there's three areas that I'm focusing on right now. Testing the deep research tools right now. So I have three deep research tools that I'm using. I'm using
There's
Perplexity.
no shortage of deep research in
Right.
Steve.
I'm using Perplexities. I'm using OpenAI's, and I'm using Google's
Okay.
Gemini.
Okay.
And so that's one area. A second area is more coding. I think that, yeah, it can do some really cool stuff. And so I want to test the boundaries of it more. And then the third thing is I'm looking for ways to start building in more feedback loops into the things that I'm working on so that I can get better results and hopefully and then start automating. For example, in programming, a good feedback loop results in better code because you first build in the proper logging, right? And if you get the proper logging, then you have a better setup to start coding, and then you get errors that combined with your visual feedback on the functionality, you can produce at a much faster rate. And there's other kind of processes that if you can build back feedback loops in, that you will get better results.
Yeah.
So those are the three.
Yeah, thank you. The stuff that so I'm excited, all the stuff I'm excited about. We've done work with, Make and Airtable and other platforms. I'm looking forward to exploring others and it's a reminder to myself is that what we may have heard about 6 months ago or a year ago, that we planted in our brain that this particular tool doesn't do X, or this particular tool has this limitation. Check your thinking, okay? Because it's rapid fire improvement. And so don't just limit yourself to one thing, because there could be something else out there that has major improvement, that all of a sudden it's actually a viable option that maybe it wasn't before. That being said, we can get pretty nutso with all the options that are out there. And so pick some stuff that you're going to follow, right? And unless like some radical thing comes in that's going to dramatically change that you think how you do stuff, stay with those things, because otherwise you don't necessarily go deep enough or get comfortable enough with something to have the close to, I don't know that we're going to tap into the full benefit in our lifetime, but I think you minimize the impact that it could have in what you do, because we're surface level. And I'm super excited to keep going on stuff that we're doing, because it's getting me back into with projects and stuff like that, back into my, before I was coaching and leadership development. in that other space that fills my cup up too. So there's some fun stuff going on, and I just think it's be open to it. Put yourself in a place that you're going to get updates and hear things that are going on, and play with it.
Yeah, yeah. 6 months is like a new lifetime.
Oh yeah.
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 Oh, it's
Yeah.
such a rapid change.
I enjoy hanging out with you all.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Michael,
Same
I'm
here.
sure we'll touch base with it at some point. We'll just, where in the world is Waldo? So have a frickin' awesome week, day, month, whatever. Until next time, this has been Anna Because, and I look forward to seeing you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
We got the spark in the circuits now. As dummies listen, we'll show you how. A new wave rising, it's clear and loud. AI's the future, let's make you proud. Data and dreams combine in the air. From cloud to code, oh, we're everywhere. Innovation driving, we're breaking ground. With AI tools, let's turn it around. AI become a use. We're powering your moves. Tech that's here for good, bringing all the moods. Ooh.